reaction? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
WGSX Lynn Hayden, WFLQ Port St. Joe. Panama City's home for Super Bowl 60. Powered by Panama City Toyota. And now, the Gulf Coast's newest sports talk host.
Hey, there's the new guy.
Paul Wilson.
That is not winning football.
Paul is your pipeline to the heart of the action.
The defense can only play this good for so long.
Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
This week, it's really going to be crucial.
The Sports Blitz.
They're playing championship football.
The new Sports Blitz.
You can say what you want.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You. So I saw that you're from Baltimore, Maryland. Tell us a little bit how you got here to Gulf Coast.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and then ended up moving down to Tampa, Florida, like before COVID, and then had a little success early in high school and stuff like that. And then Coach Lane actually ended up recruiting me to Chipola when he was assistant at first, and then played my first year there. And then he got the head coach job at Gulf Coast, and we had a mutual connection, so I just followed him to Gulf Coast.
Well, that's awesome. Again, we're here with Coach Below and Trenton Lincoln. I'm going to call you Trenton. It just sounds good. Yeah. But so anyway, so let me just go ahead and put it out there. So, Coach, we had talked a little bit before. I'm an alumni from Bishop State Community College, junior college over in Mobile, and you guys played them this year. How did you do in that game? Do you remember?
It was solid. I mean, it was early on. It was back and forth. They actually had a lead to start the game, and we started out a little bit slow. To their credit, they were playing really well, and then luckily, second half we found some rhythm and ended up pulling away. But it was a competitive game for sure.
So let me tell you this: whenever I was playing, now obviously back in those days, you didn't have you had the clearinghouse, and then you had a lot of, it seemed like, stringent ways of education. So a lot of your JUCOs was kids that were definitely Division I talent, but just wasn't able to get the grades. That's basically what it was for us. So it would be crazy when we would go on the national stage and play in big tournaments, because you were playing against 7-footers, and now I'm sure the landscape is probably crazier now than I'm sure everybody's got 7-footers. But I remember specifically playing against Gulf Coast, and they had 2 7-footers, and back then you couldn't dunk in warm-ups, or it was a technical foul.
Yep.
So you could just sit the ball in the goal, that thing. And so I remember coming out, and we were doing our little layup drills like everybody, and I'm not sure if y'all do that anymore either, because I'm an older guy. So, but anyway, I just remember one of the 7-footers, he got out there and he put his hand on the backboard and he just sat it in, but his hand was at the top of the square. So, needless to say, it was very intimidating, and that's what they were doing. And but unfortunately for Gulf Coast that night, we pulled away with the win, and I had a couple of shots over that big guy, so that was pretty cool. I just wanted to let y'all know that for all the listeners that didn't know that. But anyway, I'm just kidding. So let me ask you about the season. This is your second year, and you guys are looking really good. What's your ranking now nationally? And then give us a little bit about what the record is and what you got coming up soon.
Yeah, we're 7th in the nation currently. That was today's ranking. We dropped a game last week. We'd gotten up to high as 4, but we're still in the top 10. We dropped a game to Northwest, who's got a nice team, and beat Chipola, and then lost to Northwest, and then we won on Saturday versus Pensacola and kind of got back on track. So currently we're 19-3, 2-2 in conference, so tied for second in the conference, and got 8 games left. See how it shakes out. The second round's about to start, so we're right in the mix. I mean, I think we're one of 12, 13 teams in the country that'll have a chance if we can, keep improving as a group and make a run here late.
So let me ask you this. How does it work now? Because I don't know if it's the same as it was when we were there. So you have to win your conference. Do you have like a conference tournament at the end that allows you to go to the national tournament? Is that still how it works, or do they give automatic bids? How does that work?
Both. So Florida's got 2 conferences. We're in the Panhandle Conference. All 5 teams right now are currently in the top 20 in the country. And so only the top 3 out of the Panhandle go to the Region 8 tournament, which is both Florida conferences combined. So the other side gets 5. They've got more teams. We take 3 for an 8-team tournament. At the end, the winner goes automatically to Hutch, the national tournament. And then there used to be a limit. They could only take 2 at-larges. Last year they did away with it. So it'll be wide open. I mean, I think Florida could easily have 4 or 5 teams in a national tournament. It may be 3, who knows, but there's no limit. So for sure, probably 2 at-larges and 1 winner, so 3 teams total. But I think this year, just the way it's shaking out, I think Florida will end up having 4 teams.
Yeah, so that looks really good for y'all. And how do they determine who gets to host these tournaments? Like, is it just based off of, is there any kind of home field, or is it just, basically they select it?
They bid on it, but there's really only 2 schools, gym-wise, locker room capacity-wise, that can host it, and that's Northwest and Florida Southwest. Both have Division I-like arenas and a ton of locker rooms, because you're hosting 8 girls teams and 8 boys teams, so you've got to have a ton of space. And so, they talked about this year maybe doing the first 2 rounds at home and then the final game somewhere, or the first round at home, but they ended up keeping it the same. So they're going to rebid on it after this year, but for this season, it's at Northwest Florida.
Okay, well, that'll be good. And you guys have played them before already, so you know what to expect over there.
Yep.
So, Trent, let me ask you this. Obviously, this is, a 2-year school, and obviously you've got admirations of going to bigger and better. Have you been recruited? Have you taken any visits? Have you gone anywhere? And, can you give us some inside scoops on who are your top teams that's recruiting you?
Yeah, so I've been recruited by a lot of schools. Been blessed with that, but I took 2 visits over the winter break to TCU and Kansas. Both great visits, both great places, crazy environments. Kansas was a crazy environment, but yeah, that's really it.
Yeah. So when they wine you and dine you, so to speak, when they bring you in, tell us kind of what that looks like. Do they take you to restaurants? Do they show you around town? And do they bring any former players that may be professionals? Do they get somebody on the FaceTime that was a professional player to kind of talk to you and say welcome, that kind of thing? What do they do?
Yeah, so it's kind of like an itinerary. So check it to the hotel first day. Probably go to lunch or dinner with the coaches, and then usually we visit on a game day. So eat lunch with all the coaches, meet with all the staff, the academic people, the trainers, everything, the nutritionists, all that stuff. And then I go to the games and then watch the games in the locker room with the team after, and then we go to dinner again the next day. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. Coach, you don't push him to go to SEC? I mean, I know you're coming from Ole Miss, but we got to keep all of our guys in the SEC because that's what we're around. We've been called SEC homers around here. Yeah. But have you got any of your SEC buddies that are calling up saying, hey, we need the guy coming over here?
Yeah, there's actually a ton, but they put in a football rule probably 10 years ago that basically there was kids say they were at a school in Kansas, a junior college, and say Nick Saban wanted to recruit them to Alabama. Well, then year 2, they'd pluck them out of that Kansas JUCO, put them at East Mississippi or Mississippi Gulf, somewhere closer.
Yes.
Because they have to graduate, non-qualifiers, so that they can recruit them, stay with them, and be closer to them, et cetera. So anyway, they were having problems with that, and so they made a rule that you had to do 3 consecutive full-time semesters if you were at a junior college to be able to go SEC, to try to eliminate that. Because if you're in football, you'd go fall, spring, the next fall, and then your season's done. A lot of those guys try to graduate and go spring ball at their Division I, and so they made that rule. And so Trent obviously has been at 2 junior colleges, so he's not allowed to go to SEC. I have had Texas A&M and Georgia and Ole Miss and a couple of people call me over the last month or 2, but unfortunately that rule's in place for football, and it goes across the board for all sports. So hopefully they change that in the future. But what's crazy is he could go play at any of the schools that he has offer-wise right now and have a good year there. Or maybe it's not the right fit, and he could leave next year and go to an SEC. But, I don't know. It's a football rule that's covering all sports, so it kind of stinks, to be honest.
Yeah, wow. I had no idea. That is crazy.
And none of the other power conferences have it. He could go to ACC, Big 12, Pac-12 or Pac-10, whatever. But the SEC, that's the current rule. So.
Oh wow, that's crazy! I had no idea, man. Yep. That's some great information. I didn't know anything about that. So as far as this year, but let's talk a little bit about last year. You had some guys. I was looking it up, and you had probably, 7 guys that went on to play college ball somewhere else?
Yeah.
That's a testament to you and getting your players out. How many players was it last year? And then do you have more than just Trent that's going to get opportunities to go play somewhere else as well?
Yeah, last year we had 7 guys signed D1, 2 guys signed D2, and then 1 guy decided to play D1 football. So we had 10 guys that ended up getting a scholarship of some type to go play college sports and continue their education. And then, the one guy that's really killing it, Christian Harmon, he was the only player I had kept off the previous team. And so he's doing really well. He was Panhandle Player of the Year last year and an All-American. And he's starting at Arkansas State and averaging about 14 a game in league play for them and doing a really nice job. And we got some other guys doing good stuff too, but he's probably the main one that's doing great. And then this year, Trent's got offers to a ton of places. Devontae Cobbs, our 2 guards, got some offers. Aiden Calker's got Mercer and Bowling Green, some places like that. Iron, which is a local kid from Tallahassee, he's got 3-4 offers already to Conference USA type levels. And so I think we'll end up having, this roster, we actually took a lot more freshmen, high school guys, and so some of these guys are going to have the opportunity, hey, do I want to go Division I or do I want to come back and see like Trent and roll the dice for a year or 2 and see if I can get better opportunities maybe at a high major level or a mid-major plus. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say we're going to have 6, 7 guys again, but
wow.
We'll see what happens.
So let me ask you this on the coaching side of that, because obviously with the NIL, the way it's all set up with football, and then having the opportunity to be at a 2-year school, how does that replay for you? Because that's a tough deal, because obviously you're always going to have new kids coming in, but then you're going to have a lot of kids going out. So when you look at a roster, or when you start looking at a kid, are you trying to find just the best athletes, or are you trying to find a particular type player that's going to fit your scheme of what you're trying to do? Or, do you just, take the best that's available?
A little of both. I mean, for example, we signed Trent kind of right at the end of school. So, okay, we feel good about point guard spot. All right, we can take a younger guy. We don't necessarily have to roll the dice with another D1 transfer, whatever it may be. But you just got to plug and play and fill it out. There's no real science to it. Last year we had 61 transfers and had a good year. This year we've got predominantly high school guys and a couple JUCO transfers and having a good year again. So, I mean, I think it's just a year-to-year basis. I think if anybody's prepared to handle roster turnover, it's junior college coaches. My first year we signed 12 new guys. Last year we signed 13 new guys. So, I don't think there's any necessarily science to it.
So on our Facebook page, John Kugler says that Coach Lane Bilo is the best young coach these young men could ask for. Anchor up. So that's a big deal. So Trent, when you were looking at coming here, what was it about this place that you wanted to come here, that you knew that this was the place for you?
First and foremost, I'll probably say just the area. Panama City is nice, the beach, just the area, the sunny weather, and then secondly, just Coach Lane, how he runs the team and what he's about and the culture behind it. So I know he's gonna work hard and push me to my fullest potential.
Now, I've tried to say a few funny things. You've laughed and smiled, but he hasn't. So is this normal that, he's more like, more of a serious business, I'm here for business, this is the way it's going to be? And because I can hear his voice. I mean, his voice is gone. He sounds like a Pentecostal preacher, So, I mean, with all that being said, how is it playing for Coach?
No, it's wonderful. I mean, off the court, he's funny. He'll joke around, but as soon as we step on the court, he's serious, trying to just make us better, to be honest. But off the court, he do laugh. Does make jokes and stuff like that. Yeah,
well, we know that, from what we've heard, that, Coach, you're the second best basketball player in your family, because your wife was a Division I basketball player also.
Yep.
Tell us about how you met her and where did she play?
Yeah, we actually grew up in small towns close to each other, and so we've known each other since 7th grade. We started dating when we were juniors in high school. She was at a local high school and played each other's school and whatnot. But, she was, our senior year, she's player of the year for the area in volleyball and basketball. I'm player of the year for basketball. And so we kind of, I think it made things work, to be honest, because we both love sports and basketball. And so she went on to Southeast Missouri State and played there for 3 years and graduated and set a record there. Most made threes in a single season. And then she went to Evansville for her last year, for her grad transfer year, and set the same record there and had a nice year. So it definitely helps. There's pros and cons. We'll get done with the game and, we're in the vehicle and she's cussing out. She's like, what the hell was Trent doing? Blah, blah. She knows what's going on. But it's also positive because she understands the time commitment and what goes into this, that honestly some people and couples, can't handle and got to get out of it and get a different job, et cetera. I've never had any issues with that whatsoever, so that's been great for us.
Yeah, that's something that, the coach for the Seattle Seahawks, he had mentioned the other day that he gets about 30 minutes to an hour with his 5-year-old son, and he just said the demand of being a coach at that level is just a crazy thing. So I would imagine. So obviously you played college ball. You remember how that's set up. Have you used that experience to be able to tell, because it's easy for someone to read about it or watch it or, learn it. but it's a difference when you've played it and you've experienced it. And so with that being said, do you use how you used to play and some of the former things that you learned while you were at Ole Miss to teach these younger guys so that they can understand the full realm of the responsibilities of playing basketball?
Yeah, I would say the most important thing that I try to take away from all that is just the details and how we operate on a daily basis. We try to keep it as much like Division I as possible. And, you know, I think guys understand that, hey, this guy was in the SEC 4 years. This is how they did it there. We're going to do it the same way here. We may have younger guys, may not have as many resources, et cetera. But, you know, as far as the practice, the competitiveness of it, the weight room, how we're going to dress, act, et cetera, you know, we try to align it with what these guys are going to be doing at their next spot. And I think when you do that, you know, they can go in and they're focused on basketball and academics. They don't have to change their whole life or the way that they're operating, you know. And so, and then like for Trent, you know, I had teammates that are playing in NBA and overseas and all SEC and all that, and I'm giving him examples of things that they did that may have hurt them and things that they did positively that helped them. And so I think that helps for sure, just having those experiences.
So as a local person, because we got a lot of local listeners that maybe haven't been over to your place to watch your guys play, what type of atmosphere do you have over there? What type of atmosphere would you like for it to happen? This is kind of a way for you to, you know, reach out to some of these listeners, a lot of these listeners, to tell them, what Commodore basketball is all about and what you'd like for them to know about it before they come and watch you guys play.
Yeah, junior college sports as a whole usually doesn't have a great fan base. You've got some loyal people that'll be at every single game and come to practices here and there and things of that nature. But, you know, we've got, I don't know, I'm just guesstimating, but probably 50, 60 people that are there at every single event. And then, you know, on any given night, the gym's half full, et cetera. We haven't had anywhere we've been a ton of sellouts or anything like that. But I think people would be shocked at how good the product is. You know, not just us, but the other teams we play all have good players too. You know, every team in our league's probably got 5 to 6 Division I guys that'll be playing on TV at some level next year. And so I think the people that have came over the last 2 years have came back and enjoyed it and bring more people, but we can always grow it and continue to get more people there for sure.
Yeah, well, we're gonna latch on with you guys, and I'm gonna come over there and maybe get some stuff going. Now, Trent, I know I said stuff about the SEC, and I didn't know any of that, but we would love to keep in touch with you as well, you know, as your journey goes. But make sure that you lead this team the way Coach says lead it, and so coming up for these playoffs and all of that, so that we can really push this area. Now, Coach, when does your season once it's all done, whether you win it all or whether you lose out or whatever, do you have like a period for rest, or is it just a consistently start back over again, get geared up for our next team next year?
Yeah, it's right. Usually, honestly, right back at it. Usually our downtime, we've got about 2 weeks in August when the guys all go home, but we start recruiting. You know, you've only got these guys for 1, maybe 2 years max, and so you're having a ton of roster turnover. So, like, off this team, we lose 6 or 7 guys, and then say 1 or 2 decide they don't want to come back. Now you're basically building a whole new team again, so you'll be bringing guys in April, May, and starting summer school in June, and you may have 2 or 3 spots throughout the summer you're still trying to fill. So the players will leave actually the beginning of May and come back mid-June. So we got 5-6 weeks where we don't have players on campus, but that's when I'll be actively recruiting, trying to build next year's squad.
I gotcha. So do you, as far as your recruiting base, and we've got maybe a couple of minutes here, with your recruiting base, do you try to go Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, or are you just kind of, keeping in touch with all the high schools that you've touched in the past? How does that work? A
little bit of everything. Lean on some Division I assistants. Like, hey, they're out and about throughout the year, so they may say, hey, I saw this kid in Chicago, man. I don't think he's going to qualify, or whatever the case may be. And so using those Division I guys as a resource for sure has helped. But I mean, we've got guys on the roster from Trent's from Baltimore, kid from Minnesota, Arizona, Lithuania, France, Gambia, Guinea, Savannah, Georgia, Texas, Virginia. I mean, we've got guys from all over. So, fortunately, our school allows us a pretty good budget to bring guys in. And so
that's great.
I've seen a lot of these guys live. We didn't sign one player on the roster that I didn't get to see play live, whether it's with our guys or versus other competition.
Well, that's awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Trent, we're going to be pulling for you as far as when you leave as well. And, Coach, thank you so much for being here today. And we'll definitely get you back on. And like I said, we're going to come over and do some stuff over there, get some interviews, and keep everybody tuned in to the greatest kept secret in the Panhandle over there. So either way, we're so glad to have Coach Below and Trent today, Gulf Coast Commodores. And y'all say anchor up, I guess, with the person saying that. So anchor up. So we appreciate it, guys. And thanks for coming in. We appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. Yep.
And when we come back, we are going to dive into a little bit more of the NFL coaching carousel. You've been listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Text in now on the Red 70s studio line. 850-215-6290. Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's going to be the Auburn Tigers hosting the Texas Longhorns tomorrow night. Auburn comes in 13-7 and on a 3-game winning streak, including a huge road upset over number 16 Florida. We'll have tip-off tomorrow at 6 on your spot for college basketball on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Tuesday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 49 and a wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light wind out of the north and a temperature of 36. About the same tomorrow, around 53 with mostly sunshine and a wind coming out of the north-northwest around 7 miles per hour. Partly sunny Thursday, a light breeze and warm around 55. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Mothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 2.99% APR on a new Camry. Named the best new model by Kelly Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 2.99% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offer ends February 2nd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners of the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
To the rack. Layup good and wide. Off for the rim. Alley-oop dunk. Smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line extended. Rises for three. Bang, he got it. To the rack. Dunks it with two hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Catch select Florida Gator basketball games on 104.3 ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
Climb into our DM and jump into the chat. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson is live on Facebook. Interact with Paul and other sports fanatics. Now, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your place for Super Bowl 60 and the Orlando Magic. We're so glad to have you today. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. If you were unable to hear the interview that we did earlier on with Coach Below from over at Gulf Coast community college. I mean, they're fantastic. Trent Lincoln being recruited by Kansas and TCU, and just a fantastic interview with those guys, and exciting things going over. They're ranked 7th in the country in basketball over there, so that's really good. That's not in the state. That's not in the region.
Wow.
That's in the country. So fantastic.
And this area is a hotbed for that level of basketball.
Oh, yeah. No, it's really good. So
like Tallahassee and Northwest Florida. They're strong.
Strong teams, yeah.
Yeah, and when they go playing out of state, they're just winning.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He was like, when they leave to go out of state, they play really tough, and they win games, but when they come here, man, it's tough. They did really well.
And they have a rematch of both those teams.
Yeah, so it's going to get real interesting because only 4 can go to the national tournament. So
yeah, and that Tallahassee game, guess where it's being played?
Where at?
Here in town.
Right here, yep.
Boom.
So we'll
Get some
probably
revenge.
Yeah, we'll probably be over there. So, but either way, we're gonna change it up a little bit.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna grab hold of Taylor Devers. We got Taylor Devers on the line from Chop Chat, Norvell Central. We're gonna go back to some college football. Taylor, how you doing today, my friend?
Good, Paul. How about yourself?
We are doing fantastic. Now, last night, the Florida State Seminoles come out with their schedule. And as far as what you know about it, what do you think, Taylor?
Well, let me just go ahead and start off by saying the ACC is an absolute joke.
Oh, my goodness.
Them having a whole show based around a schedule drop that nobody cares about. I mean, just drop a social media graphic and let's get on about our day. And the biggest thing is Florida State football, the social media account, actually dropped the full schedule as soon as the ACC dropped their show at 6 o'clock Eastern time. That is when they actually dropped their same post at the same time. They said no with the shenanigans. They went ahead and dropped the whole thing. So that was kudos to Florida State on that one.
How long was the show?
It was, I believe, an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, that was a long time.
That's too much.
I like some of the guys there, and obviously, Jimbo had a couple of great quotes there that I think was really, really great for Florida State fans to hear because, everybody loves Jimbo around the Florida State community after that whole Texas A&M debacle, mainly because we're struggling now and everybody wants him as a head coach. But I think a lot of times, too, is I just think the network is struggling so much with the SEC and the Big Ten that they're just trying anything and everything to try to figure it out.
So let me ask you this, because you touched on something. Do you think that it's going to get in the works? You think this is a possibility Jimbo's coming back? Because realistically, if Mike Norvell does not turn it around and not start off good, that there's a possibility that Jimbo will come back. I know we talked about it. I know that if it wasn't going to be Franklin, that, to me, Jimbo was the next guy in line, and I think it all makes sense, especially with him getting more active. It seems like he's being more active and more around the program and talking about the program and that whole thing. So is there that little bit of, in the back, people are saying, hey, Jimbo's sitting here. We know what we can get with him.
Well, here's the thing. The beginning of Florida State's schedule was not really all that difficult. We said that last year too, so obviously, it didn't go as well. But you got New Mexico State, you got a Labor Day night game against SMU, who you could challenge for them. Got a bye week, and then you play Alabama, Central Michigan, and then you got Virginia in kind of a revenge game type factor. That's not a hard 5-game stretch. I think Florida State can realistically go 3-2, maybe 4-1 in that slate. And, you're looking at a middle half of the schedule where you're looking and saying, okay, if Mike Norvell does not get through this slate of Louisville, Miami, and then Clemson, that is a difficult stretch. I don't know why the ACC decides to make that 3-game stretch a reality for Florida State. Not to say there's not difficult schedules out there, because I know the SEC has their gauntlet as they go through every year. But, having a Friday night game against Louisville on the road, then having to go to Miami 8 days later, and then having a bye week and then playing Clemson at home and kind of this do-or-die win type of situation, I think it's just a weird and just bitter end to what could be a Mike Norvell era.
I think you look past SMU a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think considering, I mean, you had that warm-up game against New Mexico State, and I know a lot of fans talk about how the 21 season, when we lost to Jacksonville State, and we had a 5-7 season that year, you know, everybody was kind of discrediting us because we were playing LSU in that second game of the season, but we had that tune-up game against, I can't even remember who that team was at the beginning of the year, but we ended up having a tune-up game before, and then LSU ended up, you know, not really being as prepared. Both teams had their struggles, but Florida State looked like they were the better team in that just because they played that extra game.
And that's weird because you got a Saturday, then you got a Monday, then you got a week and a half for Alabama. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I didn't mind the week and a half to Alabama. I think that was kind of the plan. I love the Labor Day night games. I mean, even when we lost to Notre Dame back in 2021, that just environment was just fantastic for Florida State to have that just standalone game. And I get it. I mean, I wouldn't have loved to seen that Central Arkansas game right after Alabama. You've seen what happened right after Alabama. You know, you had those two easy cupcakes with East Texas A&M and Kent State, and then you saw Florida State just basically just destruct itself at the end of the season. I would have loved to seen like a Virginia right after that Alabama game because you want revenge against them, and I would have liked to seen Central Arkansas at the very end of the year right before Florida to give them kind of that warm-up game just like you had against SMU, and then have everybody else move up in that schedule. I think it'd be a better.
Yeah, I agree with you. Isn't it crazy to know now that year in, year out, you can't always count the teams that are going to be tough anymore? You used to be able to say, you know, this is going to be tough, this is going to be tough, and this is going to be tough. Now, you do have Alabama, you do have Clemson, who you've got coaches that's been there for a little while. You've got Miami coming off their historic run that they made. And then you've got a team like Virginia that, you know, is Tony Elliott got them in the right direction. They played in the ACC championship. And then you got like a team like Virginia Tech who's got a seasoned coach that I believe is probably going to turn them around. I mean, so this year to me, when I saw the ACC schedule for Florida State and all the way around, I think Florida State could possibly have one of the toughest schedules in the country, meaning top 25, but also, you know, you can't count out if John Summerall is going to do something good with Florida. You got Alabama and Florida as your two SEC schools. Then you got Miami. You got Louisville, who's getting transfers in right and left just like everybody else. The added Virginia Tech, Virginia, and then you've got to talk about Miami. That's 7.
And you didn't even mention Georgia Tech.
I didn't mention Georgia Tech. I didn't mention SMU.
Duke.
And I don't think they have Duke. So,
okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a possibility, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Dowder here, but you've got Louisville, Miami, Clemson. You still got Pittsburgh. You still got North Carolina State, who's up and down. You still got Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and SMU. So if you just say yes for, you know, say you go 4-1, and then now you got Virginia, Louisville, Miami, Clemson. You get a cupcake in Boston College, which you don't never know what they're going to do. But then you got Pittsburgh, and then you got North Carolina State. And it's just like, gosh.
I didn't hear a Cal or a Stanford, huh?
They don't have either one of those.
That's great.
Thank gosh. Yeah.
It is great for travel, but it's not so great for easy wins.
You want another
you would
cupcake.
think you need a cupcake, because it seems like to me, and I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the whole ACC schedule, but gosh, honestly, I could see if the team that played this year plays like that next year, this is going to be a rough schedule for Florida State.
See, that's the thing. I think it's totally unpredictable, like you were saying earlier, and we just don't know if Duke's going to be trash or North Carolina State's going to be up or Louisville's going to be down. We really kind of don't know. It's not as consistent as the SEC, and I'm not trying to toot or say that's better, you know, that the SEC is more consistent, but you just really just don't know.
I mean, Taylor, would you be surprised either way? I mean, if by the way you're looking right now, by who you got coming in, I mean, what's your realistic success in a schedule number? Is it 9-3? Is it 8-4? I mean, is it, 7-5 with this type of schedule?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, too, is we play 3 Friday night road games, or I guess road, and we got a home game against Florida on Black Friday. and then you play a Monday night game. I mean, it's just weird. And then Miami's got 3 Friday night games. I'm just like, what is the ACC doing? And, I mean, it's like the schedule does line up pretty well in the first half. I'm not going to credit wins and say this team is going to go, 4-1 because, I can say 4-1 or 3-2. I said that last year, and guess what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, we factored in all that going on, and then Florida State just kind of fell by the wayside. So, I mean, when you're looking at it, if they're playing an Ashton Daniels, who hasn't really looked great, he showed flashes at Auburn. I mean, you got Kevin Sperry out there who's a redshirt freshman. You got the JUCO kid, Malachi Marshall. I think there's pieces on this team like Deuce Robinson and some other pieces too. But the problem is, like, when you go to it, is Florida State fans, are they ever going to be happy with Mike Norvell? Has he gained the trust if he's able to go back and win 8 or 9 games? I think right now, as you look at the schedule, it's all going to dictate out that 3-game Louisville, Miami, and also Clemson stretch. I think Florida State's got to get to 8 wins. If you don't get to 8 wins, it is a problem. I think Mike Norvell might get fired pretty quickly. If that's the case, if it goes south and it goes to Clemson at home, I hate to say that, but it just looks like that could be a factor in this if Florida State doesn't get off on the right track.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I wondered if the number was 8, or are we looking playoffs? Are we looking a chance to play for the ACC championship? But 8 wins is probably going to keep him there, but anything less than that is probably going to get him fired. And you, like you said, if it goes early, if it goes bad early, say you lose to Alabama, beat Central Arkansas, and then boom, that run that you have there with Louisville, Clemson, and those guys, it could get ugly. And then again, would you say that Jimbo is still an option?
I would say he's an option, but I don't know if he's quite ready. I would think too. I mean, they've wanted to pull the trigger on a Lane Kiffin. They want to pull more like polarizing figures in the sport rather than just going back to the same old thing. Now, I understand Jimbo is there. I understand he's probably always going to be there for Florida State. He'll probably always be able to listen. But I think Florida State's really looking at those other options to kind of figure out what they want to do and kind of have Jimbo in the plan C or plan D type of situation rather than just being a plan A.
Well, that makes sense. But for me, I'm like, gosh, if you can't beat, Clemson, Louisville, and Miami, and SMU. If you lose to SMU, lose to Alabama, it only gets worse going forward. If, obviously Clemson, you don't really know what they've got either, but you got to know that Miami's going to be back again stronger, or at least close to what they've got, because they've got experienced Division I players coming to the positions that you need them to be at. But I'm just saying, like, gosh, man, it could be NFL for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, it's just a weird stretch for Florida State. I never want to pick up the pitchforks for somebody. I want to make sure that they can be able to stay at Florida State if they can, if they can succeed. I love everyone in the Garnet and Gold, obviously. I want to see everyone be successful, get those 9, 10, 11 wins and compete for championships. But right now, I mean, you're looking at 7 wins in the last 2 years, and you're just kind of looking at the future and saying, what are we doing next?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Taylor, and we've bumped up against the break, but I sure do appreciate you coming on, and hopefully, we will have good news concerning Florida State and the program going forward, even though they've been dealt this pretty tough ACC schedule.
No doubt. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, Taylor Devers from Chop Chat, Norvell Central. We appreciate you. When we come back, we are going to dive into some of this coaching carousel with the NFL. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
This is Touchstone service. The Red 70 studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida is taking it to the hole. Your home for the most live college basketball in the Gulf Coast. The ACC, SEC, and the biggest games in the country. Plus the official station of March Madness.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
Hear every slam dunk in ultra-high fidelity right here.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Full residential and commercial projects from start to finish. Wheelhouse is ready to help. From the moment you have the thought to build to the moment you step through the front door of your finished project, Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering will walk you through all of your aspirations. Engineering, site plans, live architectural design, construction, 3D rendering, permits, and more. Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering, 850-896-6597, 850-896-6597, and online at wheelhousedba.com.
Your goals matter, and at Anytime Fitness Panama City, they're ready to help you crush them. With expert coaching, personal training, and virtual workouts through the Anytime Fitness app, you'll have all the support you need inside the club and beyond. Limited time only. Join today for just $1 down and start your fitness journey now. Don't wait. Visit 107 West 23rd Street, Suite W8, or call 850-818-8184. Anytime Fitness. Let's make healthy happen.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The Sports Blitz.
Welcome home, baby.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, we are your place for college basketball and also the NBA. Don't forget, on Wednesday, Auburn at Texas, and on Friday, Orlando with the Raptors. Either way, we're pumped up and ready to go. Jeffrey's here with me. We've been discussing a lot about schedules, and real quick, we're going to go ahead and go to our Red 7T's phone line. He's been patiently waiting in the confounds of Ohio. Mike, how you doing today, Mike?
Right now it's chilly Ohio, and I hear down there you guys got 40-some degrees temperature, but that's not what I called to talk about. I was hearing a little bit of your conversation with Taylor, and what I want to say is, why would you hire Jimbo Fisher back when you let him go when they let him go in the first place?
Well, for me, it was just a stability move because everybody else that's available that would come to Florida State, it would have to be some type of rebuild. Jimbo's won a national title. He's ran great programs. He knows how to recruit the state of Florida, and he knows what he's doing as far as getting out there and getting quarterbacks developed to be able to run his system. And so with the college football game being such a quarterback-driven, playground, so to speak, I think Jimbo would be a perfect fit. He's already known what's going on. And the thing is, too, is I think Jimbo would take a little less money to come back because he's already made so much money with the deal that he's done with Texas A&M. So I think he's cheaper. I think he's a more solidified coach, and I believe he could do something and help Florida State get back on their feet until somebody else is ready to take over.
Okay. But here's my second question. Mm-hmm. What makes you think Mike Norvell is what makes you think Mike Norvell is going to the NFL and getting coaching stuff? Because he's proven to me he can't win in Florida. So what makes you think he can win in any coaching job in the NFL?
Well, what I was referring to is the old acronym that the NFL stands for, not the National Football League, but not for long. So I think Mike Norvell is on to not for long being a head football coach if he does not win football games at Florida State.
I don't see him, that's just my opinion, I don't see him ever a head football coach after Florida State's done with it. Because nobody's going to hire him in the NFL.
Well, the thing is that if anybody hires Billy Napier, to be a head football coach in college, I think Mike Norvell is safe to say Mike Norvell will be able to find him a job. I think he'll go to a Sun Belt or maybe the American Conference, something like that. I think he could probably still go back and do something like that. So I think
But here's another thing. Here's another thing, Paul. What makes you think Billy Napier can win?
Well, I don't think he can win necessarily, but I think he can win at the level of the lower level schools. So he went to James Madison. I think he'll do well there. I think he'll be able to do some of the same stuff that he was able to do with Louisiana and the Raging Cajuns whenever he was before his job at Florida. So just with that, I think they'll be able to do that, and they'll be able to get those blue chip players, those 1 stars, 2 stars, and turn them into 3 stars.
Well, I respect your opinion, but where's Brian Kelly going then?
I don't know. It's a very touchy situation. I would have thought in this carousel that he would have went on to somewhere else. But as of right now, I think he's just going to, hang on to his money, get some stuff solidified, and then maybe wait for a bigger job. Maybe, some job that's going to come open next year that we don't see yet because of a not good team or something like that.
While we're talking about people returning to where they came from, like Jimbo Fisher and everything, and we talk about Jeff Brom played at Louisville, back at Louisville, Rich Rodriguez back at West Virginia.
Yeah.
Hey, let's say the Cincinnati coach gets a little even more successful, and they're in the Big 12 now. That coach moves on. I can see Brian Kelly going back to Cincinnati.
Yeah, he did good there.
No. Never happened.
Mike, you can have him back to Ohio.
Hey, no, it never happened. Never happened. It will never happen.
You never know. He's never going to be a Buckeye. Let's put it like that.
All right, bye, Paul.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it, Mike. Man, you sent Michael.
I did. I insulted him because I said you can have him back. And he's a Michigan fan, so to even talk about Buckeyes is sin.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at him, that's a big deal. And then, that bringing up the Buckeyes, what did you think about Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator from the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to Ohio State?
Unexpected.
Yeah, that was very unexpected. Now, you do realize who Arthur Smith is. You know who his dad is. He's he was basically the starter or the originator, owner of FedEx. And so they're saying that because of Arthur Smith coming, that FedEx money is going to follow as
There's
well.
Gonna be a big patch right there. It's going to be FedEx, on their jerseys. Like they're making the jokes about the Longhorns going to have Bucky's.
Yeah. Well, and they did say that they were going to approve that, right? That's been approved. It's just like the NBA. The NBA has, just the other night, watching our local affiliate, the Orlando Magic, and they've got the Disney sticker on their jersey. So they are sponsored by Disney.
So that's cool and all that. But then you have sponsors out there that want to get sponsorships, and they're going to go to the mid or lower levels, and you're going to have stuff that's on your jersey that you don't want. I mean, it'd be okay. LSU would be okay with like Raisin Cane's chicken fingers like on their shoulder, but they don't want Boudreaux's butt paste. And these companies want advertising. That's the truth. Am I right?
I don't know. I think it's fitting for you to say Louisiana would have that on their jerseys. I think
it's a Louisiana original. Boudreaux's butt paste.
I guess.
I'm not advertising them, okay?
Yeah.
Making me hungry.
Oh, gross.
No.
But yeah, I mean, would you bring in Arthur Smith there, the last person that was a high-profile name? Because he used to be, he was the offensive coordinator. He was the head football coach at the Falcons.
Yeah, and the way he went out, huh?
Yeah.
The Saints, beat them into the ground the last week of the season when it didn't matter, and the guy's holding his hand on the handshake at the end, right? And he's like thanks a lot for beating my team into the ground and keeping your guys in there, and just the fourth quarter was messed up the way that he went out.
Do you like the hire when you go from the NFL to college? Because they've got Matt Patricia there as their defensive coordinator, and he comes straight out of Belichick, straight from the NFL.
I do like it. I don't know if I like it more the opposite way around or not. like college to pro. You know what I mean?
For coordinators.
For, well, anything. Coordinators, head coaches, or whatever, you know? I mean, it's kind of strange having Belichick over at the Tar Heels because they were talking about it today. I don't know if you've seen the map with the Seahawks and the Patriots, like who's for who, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like all of New England, you know, from what Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Vermont on up is for the Patriots. And then North Carolina because of Drake May. But then somebody said, oh, is that because of Belichick? And I was like, well, no, Belichick's been gone for a couple of years, right? 2 years?
Yeah.
And then, or 3, whatever it's been. And he's down at North Carolina. I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of crazy. He's at North Carolina. And Drake May is where Belichick used to be. It's like a swap spots.
Yeah. And that was the kind of the crazy part of it was because Drake May still goes down to North Carolina for their games and that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
And, you know, the divorce, I would call it, with Belichick and Robert Kraft and the Patriots organization to the point to where they said he's, you know, that even the Patriots scouts are not allowed in the building at North Carolina until they had some talks, and then they're like, oh yeah, they're able to come, but no, it was legitimately they were not allowed to be there, even though Vrabel is the head football coach and he played for Belichick.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question. That map just showing New England and North Carolina for the Patriots and everyone else, the Seahawks, I don't think it's real. I mean, I think there's parts of the Midwest, you know, that would not be for the Seahawks, even some part of the middle country and the mountainous areas, or even Florida. I mean, there's a lot of Patriot fans down here, but there's a lot of hate also.
Yeah, do you still believe what the caller said yesterday, that the Patriots are the most hated team in the NFL? Because we didn't really go over that.
Top 5 easy. Top 5 easy.
But you don't think they're number one?
I don't think they're number one. And, you know, I mean, there was some backlash on hate on the Chiefs lately, you know, in the last couple of years. And part of it, I don't want to say had to do with Taylor Swift, but, I mean, there was like an intermixing of, you know, okay, we're tired, we've already watched your team, let's move on type thing, you know.
And that's how people are. They don't want to see domination. They don't want to see one team winning it all the time. Winner's fatigue is what they call it sometimes. And you've even said before from your seat that you don't like it either. No. You want it to be more parity, more spread out. Yeah. So with these teams coming in like that, I mean, a lot of people have talked about that there's a possibility of Drake May and Mike Vrabel being the new Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. And with that being said, are you hoping against that? You're hoping that that's not the case?
Yeah, I don't want any dynasties to happen right now, and almost any sport, really. And it's weird because I do make this one exception, and I don't know, maybe it's a timing of when I was growing up and everything. I really enjoyed the Bulls, you know, run in the 90s, and it was almost like Michael Jordan was the Mike Tyson of basketball at the time, and it was just so entertaining to watch him, you know?
Yeah.
I never really pulled against the Bulls.
But that is the only
time I really enjoyed it.
Yes, it was domination, but that was like a 3-year span for then so that's 3, and then he was down 2, and then 3 again.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
6 and 8 years.
Yes,
come on. Nobody's done that.
No, they haven't. But I'm saying, like, it just felt different. It wasn't like this, even though, because it was like, who's going to knock them off? Who's going to knock them off?
Yeah. And it was the different teams, like 4 different teams.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it wasn't just the Jazz. It was the Suns. You know, it was all over the place. Even the Lakers at the very beginning.
Yeah. And so, like, with the way...
and the Sonics. Supersonics.
Yep. With the way that it is with was with the Patriots, and then now with the Chiefs, you know, when you see that, you're always going to have those people that just they hate them, and then you just wonder, you know, that would be the best. That would be one of the best questions to say, what fan base hates the most because their team hasn't won? Is it Cowboy fans hate the most because they haven't won in 26 years?
And they keep talking. They're like, this is our year. Well, the weird part about, if you watch the NFC and who's advanced to the Super Bowl, in the last 11 years, if I told you that the Seahawks have been 3 times the representatives of the NFC, you'd be like, wow, has it really been 3 times in the last 11 years? And I think it was the Eagles were the other one. They've been 3 times in the last, like, 10 years. And then the 49ers have been, like, 3 times in the last 12 years. if I was telling you there were 3 different teams that made it 9 times the last 12, you wouldn't even thought that there was that type of rotation going on between Eagles, 49ers, and Seahawks. But that's the situation.
That's how it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's really crazy. Going to give a few shout-outs on Facebook before we take the break. Charlene Sullivan, Van Chancey, Brittany Thompson, Jennifer Thompson, and John Kugler. How you guys doing? So glad to have you. Jack Patterson as well. But when we come back, we are going to dive into the NFL. We've got some stuff to talk about. There's been some new coaches getting hired, and we are going to talk about it. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 7T Studio Line. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Calvert. It's time to move off LeBron at some point in the next calendar year. And LeBron's never been loyal to teams. This is not a Derek Jeter situation. This is not Magic or Kobe. LeBron's easier to move off. This new ownership group, they have no loyalty to him.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at 1.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Tuesday. Some clouds tonight with a light wind out of the north at 6 miles per hour, and look for the low to be 36. Tomorrow morning, there will be mostly sunshine with the temperature reaching 48. Sunny in the afternoon and evening with a high of 53. Thursday will have a high of 55 and some sun. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Crawfish season is back, and the heat is on at Lone Star Boil House. Lone Star Boil House is where the locals go for delicious, mouth-watering Cajun crawfish, shrimp, buttery red royals, and everything crab. Plus, Lone Star Boil House is now serving liquor. Get crawfish week open to close. To-go crawfish also available at the front bar, and crush the follow on Facebook for frequent food and drink specials. Lone Star Boil House, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
That boot store reminds you that it doesn't hurt to give something stylish and practical on Valentine's Day. Just think, fellas, what she's gonna look like in that special Western outfit. Wow. Ladies, he'll look sharp in those jeans and new hat, too. Okay, fellas, to be on the safe side and not be sleeping on the couch, that boot store suggests that you complement that Western outfit with some lovely flowers, candy, or romantic art. Maybe all 3. Just a suggestion from that boot store. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia, 15th Street, Panama City.
GSX Lynn WFLQ Port St. Joe. Panama City's home for Super Bowl 60. Powered by Panama City Toyota. Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's going to be the Auburn Tigers hosting the Texas Longhorns tomorrow night. Auburn comes in 13-7 and on a 3-game winning streak, including a huge road upset over number 16 Florida. We'll have tip-off tomorrow at 6 on your spot for college basketball on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle.
The Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, where the listeners call the plays.
That's a big factor in what Florida State's going to do for the future of this program.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad to have you right here. It's a cold day in the Panhandle. Make sure you're wearing your jackets. Get them kids ready for school. I know some people don't want them to go because it's so cold, but they gotta go. Get your hoodies on. But either way, we're so glad to have you. If you want to be a part of the show, you can be 850-215-6290. The Red 7T's phone lines. Your place for all things in custom apparels right here in the Panhandle. Jeffrey, we've got to talk about the NFL coaching carousel. Have you ever seen anything like this with college and pro the same year, having all of these opening jobs? I mean, if you look at it, you've had jobs of LSU, you've had jobs of Michigan, you've had jobs of Virginia Tech, you've had jobs of Florida, Penn State, UCLA, all of these jobs. And then now
Kansas State, Iowa State. It's a domino effect.
NFL says, you know what? We got it. Ravens, Steelers, I mean,
Browns, Falcons, Arizona Cardinals,
all of those
Buffalo
teams.
Bills.
I mean,
we're not done yet.
Yeah, and teams that are
Dolphins,
teams that have been good, teams that have made the playoffs, teams that are real big, fan bases. The Steelers, the Ravens, the Bills, all of those. I mean, those three are the largest. Well, today, finally, after all of this, since the 2019 college football scene, before he was an unknown person, but then he wasn't even the offensive coordinator, but he got all of the praise and all of the glory for the 2019 Joe Burrow-led LSU team that was throwing to possibly the two best wide receivers in the NFL right now, which is Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So realistically, two best wide receivers, a definite Pro Bowl, maybe a Hall of Fame quarterback in Joe Burrow, Joe Brady. How happy are you?
I mean, I'm happy for him. Am I going to be a Bills fan? Heck no.
What? No.
I'm not going to be a Bills fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. You can't have two teams in the same division, much less it's hard enough to have them in the same conference,
It's your side team.
No, my side team's the Dolphins and the Saints. They're equal, No, I'm not going to be a Bills fan, but I'm happy for him. It's not just that he was an LSU guy, but he was also a Saints guy also.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Tell me what you think about what the Bills are doing. They went from a Sean McDermott to from being a defensive-minded coach, and which Joe Brady was there. He was the offensive coordinator. So, I mean, he's got familiarity in the building already, so there's nothing that's going to have to be changed. It's just changing offices, moving his office to the big office that's in the center of the room or in the corner, whatever, with the view of Buffalo. So, but when you look at them saying that, does that surprise you that they go with an offensive guy? Because there really is no rhyme or reason in the NFL. You're looking at a lot of people from McVay's tree, a lot of people from Shanahan's tree were the hot boys, I would call them. They were all, your McDaniels and all of these other guys. But then you've got some of these defensive guys that have done really well. DeMeco Ryans done really well. The Seattle Seahawks mentor, he's done really well, or McDonald rather. He's done really well. Now Jesse Minter getting a job. Now he's going to be able to do that, and he was a defensive guy. So did it surprise you a little bit that the Bills would go with an offensive guy, or was it just kind of like, Joe Brady, is his turn? It's time for him to get one.
No, I think you focus too much on this guy's offensive guy or this guy's defensive guy. You've got to be the guy at the top who can hold people accountable, who can teach people below them. I think it's not so slanted. Because what's interesting to me is and we'll go back, obviously I always go back to the past, right? There were people who were innovators like Shula and Landry, where, people figured them out and then they were old hat. And I think that's what happened to Pete Carroll with the Seahawks recently. Because I respect Carroll a whole heck of a lot. But now we got a guy in there that's just, he's just winning, right? And that's a defensive mind, and it's not like there's more innovation on offense. It's just that they're winning with defense. That's the surprising part, is that the NFL seems to be going with these new hires winning with defense instead of winning with offense. I think that's the biggest difference I've seen in the last few years, which is surprising.
And McVay has kind of been the guy. Shanahan has kind of been the guy. Those two guys, to me, and you can't leave out Andy Reid. I know that Mahomes went down and that hurt them and all of that. But when you look at it, the defensive guys have done really well, but the offensive guys have done well too. So it's really not, that's why I'm saying there really isn't a one way or the other that's kind of tipped their hat because of the success of McDonald and the success of D'Amico Ryans. But you do want to see how it's going to affect all of it, and like, I'll just be honest with you, everybody thought Brian Daboll was going to probably be the Buffalo coach. Mm-hmm. And, when he went to the Giants, everybody was like, because he was Buffalo's offensive coordinator. Yeah. And he had turned Josh Allen into what we've seen Josh Allen be. Mm-hmm. And so now when you look at him going to the Giants and it didn't work out, and then it's like, oh, man, well, maybe we don't need to go offense. Maybe we do need to go offense. And so, obviously John Harbaugh is who he is and what he's done with the Ravens. And so the Giants pick him up. So they're really, I said all that to say there's really not a rhyme or reasoning behind it. But I think with the Bills, digging deeper, peeling the layers back and looking at what really happened, it was a realistic, it just was a difference of opinion. The head football coach did not believe the roster was good enough to win. He didn't think that they had the players, that they had the staff to be able to win and take it all the way to the Super Bowl. But the owners,
he say that?
Yeah, McDermott. It was reported that McDermott had a meeting with the GM and the owner and basically said, we're going to do our best, but we don't have the dogs, so to speak, to be able to just win it with talent alone as well as with our coaching. And they disagreed with him. Yeah. So that was the disconnect, because realistically, if you look at McDermott, what he's done great there. He was going to the playoffs every single year.
Winning the division.
Yeah, winning. But they just couldn't get over the top. It was that whole Mark Richt deal. You almost get there every year. You were good, a good team, solid. You beat big teams. You beat teams you weren't supposed to beat. And you beat kids that, the other teams that you were. And so that way, when you look at how McDermott did not think that, it makes you wonder, with having somebody that you're hiring in the building, which is Joe Brady, he must think so, or he's got a plan, or at least he's told them he's got a plan to somehow fix that. Because realistically, they've got a good wide receiver, or they got a good running back, they've got Josh Allen at quarterback, and then they've got some decent, good tight ends. But realistically, who is Josh Allen going to throw the football to? Because, they benched Keon Coleman, and he didn't work out. And so Shiver is still there. But, these guys, to me, it seems like they're not ready.
Well, they got a draft coming up, and that's the time to reload. And it's different from being an armchair quarterback and us being from the outside looking in and saying, oh, well, you need to do this or you need to do that. Brady was on the inside. And to look around and see the innards of it and know how to fix this situation is definitely an advantage, right?
Yeah.
You don't step in and have to meet everybody. You already know everybody. You've already figured out, hopefully, your analytical part has figured out what you want to try and do differently. And I think also we're kind of discounting the fact that the Bills took over this division. And what happened this year? The Patriots took it back. And that's something that the Bills organization does not want to ever do again, because they had to wait 2 decades for this to come. And now they took it back and they're going to give it right back. No, this is unacceptable. You're out.
Are we going to see, once Patrick Mahomes gets back, are we going to see the old school Peyton and Manning dueling it out every year to see who's going to come out of the division with Mahomes and Drake May? Are we getting ready to get it back going again? Are these guys gonna bring that? Because you got Lamar Jackson's gonna have a new coach. Now you got Josh Allen's gonna have a new coach. So
Rodgers is almost done.
Yeah, he's pretty much either coming with McCarthy or leaving, and then they don't have anybody currently in the room for the Steelers yet.
Well, we just got robbed of a Knicks-May matchup. Will that happen again? That's more interesting.
I don't know.
Sean Payton's doing good things.
Well, and that's what I wonder.
Stole one of the best divisions in the league.
Yeah. That's really, I mean, could we see these new guys taking over? Bo Nix versus Drake May. Is Patrick Mahomes going to come back? Is he going to be back? That's one of the questions coming into the offseason. But I just wonder if, with Josh Allen, if he had, because they did make a mention about it. They said that Josh Allen was going to be in the room. So, I mean, they're allowing him to be a part of the discussion of who they're bringing in. So, obviously, it sounds like he wanted Joe Brady as well.
Well, isn't it strange that Rodgers was at the Steelers and McCarthy got hired? Do you think there was some talking there?
He said that they did have an interview today with McCarthy, and that he did say that him and Aaron has talked, and that he is definitely, if Aaron wants to come back and play, he's definitely interested in him coming back and play, because he said, I went back and watched a lot of the games, and I watched at home watching the Steelers play, and he said that he feels like Aaron can still play at a high level, and he said today that he would love to have him back. How would that make you feel if now you've got Aaron Rodgers, you got Patty Mahomes, you got Drake May, and you got Josh Allen, Lamar? You still can't count out if Joe Burrow is going to Minnesota. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. Sunshine's in the mix. And, I mean, so now really you've got all of these guys that are getting their shot of playing quarterback. And, I mean, they're doing really good. So this year's class of quarterbacks not being very strong, no problem, NFL. You don't need them. We got plenty of quarterbacks to play in the NFL as long as they stay healthy. So, I mean, when you look at it that way, we got some really interesting talks to do whenever the offseason starts, but really to see who's going to be back, how everything's going to work out, and it's going to be a really cool thing to see. Now, let me ask you this. When you look at it, Brian Daboll was also interviewed for the Buffalo Bill job. Him and Josh Allen had the career together a couple of years there in Buffalo. Very successful. Couldn't get over the hump either as well. But it looks like that he is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. And it's contingent upon his upcoming interview that he's doing with the Raiders.
Oh, wow.
So if he doesn't get the head coaching job with the Raiders, then he is going to take the Titans OC. Do you like that move? Do you like him and Cam Ward? Because he was successful with Josh Allen just calling the plays, and he did have a great relationship with Jackson Dart. I mean, I don't know about that, but I just think I've always thought that he was one of those guys that really I liked him at Alabama. I would love for him to come back to Alabama. I thought maybe he might eventually, if DeVore were to jump ship and go to Michigan, that was a possibility, because I liked him. I liked how he thought. I liked him. I pulled for him. Do you like that move for the Titans?
For the Titans, heck yeah. And maybe I'm biased because I'm thinking that the Titans are at a pivotal point in their franchise where the Raiders have been a doormat for so long, off and on, for the last 30 years, that you look at the Titans and you're like, they had success, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fresh-ish, and this is the point where teams are kind of up and down in that division. That division used to be trash. And when the Houston Texans are winning it a couple of years in a row, you were kind of like, well, it's the Texans to lose, really. Mm-hmm. And then now you've got all this movement. I don't know if the Colts could fall into disrepair and be the bottom team, but the Texans need to get out of the bottom.
Yeah, they're out. Well, I'm going to read some...
Where would you want to coach? I would want to coach the Titans any day over the Raiders.
You would want to?
The Titans over the Raiders, yes. Even though they have two pieces over the Raiders that I really, really like, it's still, I'm leaning Titans.
I mean, for me, I think I would much rather go to the Raiders because you're gonna be able to get your starting quarterback with you to develop. You'd have to figure out if Mendoza is going to be that guy or not. If you think Mendoza is an NFL quarterback, go to the Raiders. Mm-hmm. If you don't think that he's an NFL quarterback, go to the Titans. Tear it up with Cam Ward, see what happens, and then possibly get you another head coaching job down the road. That's what I think he wants. I don't think he wants to be a coordinator forever. So we're going to read some things, some comments from Facebook. Neil Rivers, hadn't heard from him in a while, but Jeff's right. No side teams in the same conference. Fins up. So there you go.
There you go.
Van Chancey said, go Jags. He also said the Bills hire is weird, being in staff and getting elevated. even the GM getting moved up to president was something weird that happened there too. So
yeah, because we were talking about Florida State elevating their coach for a little bit, and Arkansas, and there was a third team. I can't remember who it was. We were talking about a person Auburn. That's what it was, the defensive coordinator. Yeah, and none of that happened.
Yeah,
astounding.
But like with the Bills, it was a weird situation, their whole thing, and then their GM getting pushed to president. And during the interview, when they were talking about what was going on with McDermott, the GM was answering the question, and then boom, the owner steps in and says, "Hold on a second, can I answer that question?" Which is crazy.
Jerry Jones.
Well, I mean, yeah, it made a lot of ripples. It made people wonder, but we never knew any of the turmoil that was going on. We knew that Sean McDermott losing every year in, year out, and not winning it and going to the Super Bowl, and that really that's what fans want. And, the Bills Mafia fans, they're crazy. They're wild. They jump through tables, all of that stuff. And they want to go to the Super Bowl because but it's been Jim Kelly. And the last time they went in fours and lost all four.
I can just imagine, because they had 9 home games in the AFC this year.
Mm-hmm.
That owner goes to 9 games guaranteed if he doesn't even go to the road games. And just to see the Patriots steal the division from you, it probably lit a fire underneath him. He's probably the hatred probably was just boiling, making his skin boil at some point.
Yeah,
I would think.
Especially if people are saying, "Oh, this is the new Tom Brady. Oh, Mike Vrabel has come in and now he's the darling of the division." I mean, really, when you look at it, he is. And
he is.
He 1 year turnaround.
And the Lions, with is Campbell?
Yeah,
he's the one who kind of turned it around. Everybody's loving him. And now he's kind of getting a little bit more in shadows now because they didn't win their division.
That and the coordinators, and you got to have the right coordinators.
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
You can't be. It's hard to do by yourself, And there's, that's like with Sean Payton. Everybody's armchair quarterbacking him over the going for the 4th down and not kicking the field goal and all that. I mean, so realistically, when you look at him being the head coach and calling the plays and that whole thing, it could get sideways on you because like with Campbell, when Ben Johnson was there, Ben Johnson called the plays. Ben Johnson leaves, Campbell gives it to someone else. That guy's not moving the football, so Campbell steps in, starts calling the plays. He can't get it done, and now the Lions miss the playoffs and don't get to go play, where everybody in all of the picks were saying that the Lions, it could be their year to get to the Super Bowl, and then they don't.
9-8.
And they love Campbell. Campbell is a great guy. They love him, but is he going to be McDermott one day? But either way, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we've got to talk about it. A certain coach is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Not just yet. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
The Rams moving forward, the big question is going to be about Matthew Stafford, and Sean McVay did not want to hear that question.
Sean, you expect Matthew Stafford to be back next season?
Yeah, if he still wants to play, the hell kind of question is that?
I don't think it's a silly question.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Tuesday. Some clouds tonight with a light wind out of the north at 6 miles per hour, and look for the low to be 36. Tomorrow morning, there will be mostly sunshine with the temperature reaching 48. Sunny in the afternoon and evening with a high of 53. Thursday will have a high of 55 and some sun. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Ask for special ESPN Northwest Florida pricing.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The Gator Boys are back.
Florida will cut down the nets. Winners of the national championship.
And ready to defend their national title.
To the rack. Layup good and wide. Up for the rim. Alley-oop dunk. Smashed down by Condon. Oh, yes, sir. Gets the foul line extended. Rises for three. Bang, he got it. To the rack. Dunks it with two hands.
On your home for Florida basketball.
Catch select Florida Gator basketball games on 104.3 ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Come back to the Sports Blitz.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 103 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your place for all things sports on the Panhandle this cold, beautiful Tuesday right here on the Panhandle. We're so glad to have you joining us, whether you're listening on Facebook, whether you're on the radio. We appreciate it. You also can check us out on YouTube. If you would, go in, give us a comment, give us a like, give us a share. All of those things are appreciated. And if you got something you want to say it on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Your place for everything custom right here in the Panhandle. You know, Jeffrey, we've talked about coaching carousel, but something crazy just happened earlier right before the show, and we got to talk about it. And I want to know if you're shocked by it, because I am. I really am. So it looks like Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach for the NFL. I mean, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. This is terrible. This is a move by people. They talked about how he did with the Patriots, all the stuff that went on. And let me say this. All right, we're going to split hairs here, because I'm going to let you say what you want, but you know, a lot of things have been talked about him coming back to the NFL, but the reasoning behind him not coming back to the NFL was the rip, and I say rip almost like a Band-Aid, or I would just say some super glue, the rip that happened between Bill Belichick and the Patriots organization, Mr. Robert Kraft himself, just the inability to separate ways without causing a bunch of hurt, a bunch of media stuff going out. And this has now cost him the opportunity to be a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. This guy is a Hall of Fame coach if there's anybody else in the Hall of Fame. There's no way, there's no possible way you can tell me, whether you like Bill Belichick, whether you hate him, whether you think he's terrible, whether you care about what age his girlfriend is and what she's doing, all of that stuff. Who cares? He should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Now, the second part of this, now, this might get me in trouble, but I don't think so, but I'm going to try it. Don't forget, Robert Kraft is also up for the Hall of Fame, and if he gets
next year,
I think it's next year. Yeah. If he gets in the Hall of Fame and they don't hold him accountable for some of the things he was caught doing on live video in a massage parlor, then what are we doing? Because that's That's absolutely unacceptable. If you're not going to let one guy in, you can't let the other guy in. What say you, Jeffrey?
Well, I'm hoping it's not Deflategate and Spygate, and they're just going to keep him out like Pete Rose is kept out of baseball.
He's in now because he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away. But, I mean, accountability, there needs to be somebody, but I'm not putting that on him and saying that a guy who's 6-3 in Super Bowls, right? And
9.
And 2, no, what's that?
He went to 9 Super Bowls.
And 2 as assistant with the Giants.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then his coaching tree is another thing. I mean, it's just, and the longevity there. Because who's had the longevity in the last 25 years? Him.
Yeah.
I mean, Tomlin's been up, Harbaugh's been around for a while, but after that, there's a big drop-off. Peyton Manning was not Peyton Manning. Sean Payton was 06, so what's that been? Almost, 20 years.
Yeah.
But he sat out, I think, a year between the Saints and the Broncos. But still, yeah, this guy's 6-3 in Super Bowls.
And is there any other coach that you can name right off your head that's a first ballot Hall of Fame coach at all? I mean, is John Harbaugh going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame? Is Mike Tomlin? Was Bill Cowher?
No.
All of those guys.
No, they're not first ballot.
They're not like Belichick.
Yeah,
Belichick is in a league of his own.
You have to look at the whole history of, Vince Lombardi.
Yeah.
Would be the only one. Is it Chuck Noll was the Steelers coach in the 70s? He was 4-0 in Super Bowls. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Shula's undefeated season. I kind of get that. Landry was an innovator with passing and everything. I mean, the passing game was crazy in the 70s. He was an innovator, but that's all looking very antiquated now because we've aged it,
And what Bill Walsh was able to do with the San Francisco 49ers.
But he did go 4-0. Come think of that. And then, of course, there's Jimmy Johnson at 2-0.
Yeah.
And he went in. If he's in, Belichick should be in. 2-0 compared to 6-3, come on.
Yeah.
Not a comparison.
No.
How many years did he coach he got there in 87 or 88 as a head coach, and he was done by 94? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Bill Belichick, and again, I know that there's a lot of hatred. I know a lot of people said, well, it was Tom Brady, and that's fine. That's fine. But if you look at every team that's ever won, I mean, look at all of the teams that Coach Saban won. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer in everything that he's getting up for Hall of Fame? Yeah, he is. And so really when you look at how they measure this, it's about what you did on the football field. It's not whether or not you got along with your owner. It's not whether or not you got along with the media. It's not about how you left or, now if you're in prison, yeah, okay, fine. You don't want to have that look of the Hall of Fame, but he's not. He's coaching football in college. Yeah. It doesn't matter anymore. He's done his due diligence in the NFL. He was good at the Browns. They let it. He left the Browns. He was with the Giants with Bill Parcells. He learned from him. He did what he did, and he made success. And he got Tom Brady. The thing is that Tom Brady was a Mr. Irrelevant almost. He was a 5th, 6th round pick, whatever it was, and he turned out to be, gold. I mean, that's just part of life. That's how it works. You got to have, are you going to take Andy Reid away from and say, well, if, Andy Reid would have never won if he didn't have Patrick Mahomes, but he did. But he did have Patrick Mahomes. So you can't say all of these things because you had a great on your team. I mean, what's the coach from, he's Peyton Manning's old coach. I can't remember what his name is.
Dungy.
Yeah, Tony Dungy.
He couldn't win a playoff game at the Bucs.
Right. But then he gets Peyton Manning, and now what?
Yeah, 1-1. So they won one, they lost one.
And is he a Hall of Fame coach? Yeah, he is. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame if he's not already.
If he's in, then Dick Vermeil is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when you look at these guys, and it is a club. Now, if like I said, if Bill Belichick was a criminal and had been in jail, in and out, struggled with, alcohol or drugs or gambling or, doing this, doing that, Who cares who? It doesn't matter if he's dating a girl 60 years younger than him. None of that matters. He's at a college right now. He's at a university right now. It's all about the good old boy system that's in the NFL with the owners. And so people are saying, without coming out and saying, anonymously, are saying, well, it's because of the way him and Kraft split ways and how this happened and how that happened. I haven't heard anything about Spygate or Deflategate or whatever it was. But do you think those things are something that would keep him from being a first ballot Hall of Fame? Or would you say Bill Belichick, first ballot Hall of Fame, check the box? Yes, no.
First ballot, 6-3 in the Super Bowls. Yeah, you got to give it to the guy. I don't care with these little things that happen. And, I don't like it. I call it cheating. I don't think Deflategate was as big of a deal. But Spygate, I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was a big
filming.
deal.
Yeah, it's cheating.
It was, but I mean, who knows who had been doing it? Everybody probably was doing it, and I know it's not.
Would you keep Harbaugh out of the College Football Hall of Fame for the Michigan scandal? But he's not 6-3 in championships.
No, and he also had a great career at Stanford. He was really good there.
Yeah, he upset USC. I mean, no. Look, I'm not a SEC homer. Don't be throwing that around at me. I'm just saying, USC was a big deal in the 2000s.
They were.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, they were. I know.
And then that Stanford upset was pretty huge, massive.
Yeah, and I mean...
And then he wasn't scared of them because they met each other in the NFC West again. And the Seahawks and the 49ers had their whole rivalry going on. This is two coaches that met each other a lot of times.
Yeah, and so, I think so. I think Jim Harbaugh is a Hall of Fame college football coach.
But not first ballot, obviously.
Maybe not first ballot, but definitely second or third ballot. And, I mean, would you look at Pete Carroll and say he's a Hall of Fame coach? Coach? Yeah, me too.
I don't know if he'll make it in NFL. He was 1-1 in the Super Bowl, by the way. He'll be like a fourth or fifth ballot. It won't be first, second, or third.
Right, but he'll get in.
He'll get in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, just like Mike McCarthy will. Mike McCarthy will get into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He will. And if he does well at Pittsburgh, then that'll be...
Oh, yeah, more testament.
That'll be more testament.
Look what Sean Payton's doing right now.
He's going to be a first ballot.
1-0 with the Saints in the Super Bowl, and if he takes the Broncos to the Super Bowl, boom, he's in.
Yeah, maybe not first ballot. I said first ballot. I meant to say just Hall of Fame. Yeah, but I think Bill Belichick, let's go back to the original extent. He deserves to be first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah. You know what just popped in my head? I don't know if you read about it today. Did you read about Bo Nix? Pre-existing condition on the ankle because he's been having repeated injuries since high school.
Oh, okay.
It was bound to happen. That's what they said.
Okay. Well, I was going to move on from the coaching carousel, but I did have one thing I wanted to talk about. It deals with your LSU Tigers. It looks like Charlie Weiss Jr. spoke to the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, the former, we can still call them the defending Super Bowl champions because we haven't gotten a new one yet.
True.
The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles had talked to him about possibly being the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and he turned them down.
Thank goodness.
How does that make you feel? Are you
relieved?
Let me ask you this. Are you more excited to have Lane Kiffin, or are you more excited to have Charlie Weiss Jr.? Because you do realize that Charlie Weiss Jr. comes from Charlie Weiss Sr., who was a Belichick disciple that was on those championship teams. And do you possibly think that after Lane Kiffin does his little 3 to 4 years with LSU and eventually goes somewhere else, whether it's the NFL or takes another job in college football, do you think Charlie Weiss Jr., if he does really well, possibly could be the LSU's new head football coach? We're going way ahead.
No, because let me tell you what Charlie Weiss Sr. did after he left the Patriots. He became a head coach at Notre Dame and failed, and he went to Kansas and failed. I mean, this is a guy who's a good coordinator, and that's probably what his son is.
I don't know. Usually, Most of the time, good coordinators turn into be good head coaches, but then we've had a lot of failures.
We've had
That's
a
happened
lot
too,
of failures, a lot.
But you know where we don't have failures?
AutoNation Ford.
AutoNation Ford in Panama City, 730 West 15th Street, right there by the railroad tracks. They've got the deals for you. If you go on their website, AutoNationFord.com, you can see all of these specials that they've got. They still got, if you turn in your Jeep and get a Bronco, they'll give you $2,000 credit. They've got several lease options, and that's something that it works out for people. You know, lease is something that's been a bad word to some people, but for some people, the leases work out really good. If you don't, want to, have a vehicle for a very long couple of years and you want to get you a new one, just kind of update every year or so, that's the way people like it.
You're enticing me with that.
Yeah,
because I'll look cool for a couple of years.
You look cool.
Trade it back
in, get the newer version. And the thing is that the payments are low, so it's not going to be like you're buying it.
Yeah.
And then you just have to keep it under a certain amount of miles. And then if you do love this car, maybe if you've named it, Judy or something like that. I don't know. Do you name? I know you've named your car. So
one time, and then
Wanda.
Wait, you want to hear a funny story? Because I got them right. My first original car was a off green, and I got to college, and my buddies renamed it the Pickle. And I was like, oh my God, these guys.
Oh man,
we had a good time in college.
I bet you did. But I figured you'd name your car, so like Wanda or Lachey or something like that. But either way, go check them out for the lease deals that's going on. Now, Recommended Collision Center over there on Jinx Avenue. Brandon and those guys do great work. Make sure you go see them if there's anything going on with your vehicle, whether it's handles, mirrors, lights. The thing is like they can let you know whether or not you can buff out your lights. You know how sometimes it gets foggy and faded?
Yeah.
They can let you know whether or not, hey, this is treatable or, hey, this is not treatable. You need to get a new one. And they can get you fixed up and right, going all the way to get your vehicle right back in tip-top shape. So go see them. Recommended Collision Center right there on Jinx Avenue. Also, don't forget, Panama City Little League, they are still holding their signups. You can go to our website, espn.pc.com, and you can click on the Little League link. If you want to be a volunteer, still got time. The season don't start till March because it's not going to be this cold. It's just cold right now. It's going to warm up, and you're going to want those kids playing baseball and softball. They've got also T-ball for the young ones as well. So either way, click on there, go see that, and that'll be great for them and you. And if you can't afford it, no problem. They've got options for that as well. But you can log on to their website and check all of that out right there at Panama City Youth Little League. So either way, when we come back, we're going to talk about Miami a little bit. What is going on with Miami? They got a new schedule. And they might have a new quarterback. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Red 7T studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's going to be the Auburn Tigers hosting the Texas Longhorns tomorrow night. Auburn comes in 13-7 and on a 3-game winning streak, including a huge road upset over number 16 Florida. We'll have tip-off tomorrow at 6 on your spot for college basketball on the Gulf Coast.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
War Eagle.
Hewitt Tire and Auto has been in business in Panama City forever. Locals taking care of locals. From the smallest to the largest vehicles, they do it all. But don't take my word for it. Listen to the experts.
Hewitt Tire and Auto, your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
You're biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay-down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
Can you take the hits? Here comes the Sports Blitz. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here with 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your place for all things sports related in the Panhandle. We're so glad to have you today. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Radidio. We're thankful for all of that. Give us a like, give us a share, and or a comment. You can also call in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. You can also text us on that line as well. We'd love to hear your comments and what you think about what we're talking about. Now, we do have some good news going on for Miami fans. It looks like Duke and quarterback, let me pronounce his name right, Darian Mensah has reached a fair and mutual agreeable resolution. So let me read the story as it goes. The Blue Devils sued Mensah in Durham County Superior Court, and they were issued a court order, temporary restraining order, to ensure Mensah does not violate his contract after he requested to enter the transfer portal. The settlement between Duke and Mensah paves the way for the long-anticipated expected transfer to the Miami Hurricanes. Let me ask you this. This is something we've never dealt with before. This is something that Dabo Swinney was talking about the other day. Obviously, he's already signed. And when you look at what they did, isn't that the same thing? Isn't that tampering without Mensah letting Duke know? Because he signed with Duke. He signed his contract. He signed to be with Duke. He said, I'm playing for you, Duke. Here you go. I'm signing. Same thing happened with DeMond Williams out in Washington. Same deal. But now he wants to go back into the portal and he wants to be available. Well, all of this happened because of everything that was going on with Sam Leavitt. Sam Leavitt was going to Tennessee, then he looked at LSU, and there was possibility of him going to Miami, and then all of that happened. Sam Leavitt signs with LSU. Boom, Mensah goes into the portal, and then boom, Duke says no. So now, isn't that the same thing?
I'm not sure how the timetable was as far as when they signed, but I do believe in contracts being binding legal agreements, and I'm old school with that, because if you have a buyout, it should be enforced 100%. So I'm sure in that contract that he signed with Duke, whatever the dollar amount or, restrictions there were, it needs to be 100%. They don't need to go to court. This is a legally binding contract. It's been notarized by a notary or a government official, 100%. Whatever the buyout is, boom, that's what you have to pay to get out of it.
What was kind of odd and strange all at the same time was the fact that it never said anything about the actual football team. It never mentioned Manny Diaz, which is the head football coach for Duke.
Oh, yeah.
It was between Duke and Mensah, meaning it was between the university and basically his agent, which is crazy.
They get him off the hook. Plus, Manny Diaz used to be at Miami.
He did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it hasn't come out yet that he's signed with Miami, but it's almost like it's a done deal. That's where he's going.
Yeah.
And if you watched him play, he's a very good player. Definitely one of those guys that can get elusive, get outside the pocket, and throw the football. So.
Never gives up because Virginia had the lead in that game in the ACC championship.
Yeah, that is true.
That's another value that I don't think we talk about enough. People not giving up in the middle of a game or in the late parts of the game, and they believe in themselves. And that's positive thinking.
Yeah. I mean, but let's get back to the actual, are we going to always see this? Is this something that we're going to always see? Because what happens is, okay, so the NCAA, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. They're kind of handcuffed because when you go to state court says this. NCAA can only say this. And, there's a sweet little name that the NCAA, I believe they could use if they wanted to, and it would be called arbitrary or arbitration.
Yeah, arbitration.
And that way you could just handle this with an arbitrator. Basically, it's you with another person sitting with another person and y'all figuring it out, making both sides either lose or win. And that way it doesn't get caught up in court, because I was just messaged yesterday, and I'll read to you what I was messaged about yesterday. And that was the fact that here we are all over again with Trinidad Chambliss. He as well has a court date, a hearing set for February the 12th. And we're talking about the same type of stuff. Are they going to allow Trinidad Chambliss? And that's been the whole deal going forward is that it's in state court. And you know what happens in state court. State court's going to be ran by the state. What does Ole Miss? What do people in Ole Miss want?
Institution.
They want Ole Miss to be in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Who led them to the college football playoff? Trinidad Chambliss. We want him back. The judge that's presiding over the case of Trinidad Chambliss is an alumni at where Coach Pete Golden went to college. So really, what do you think about that? Should we take the hands off with the state, with the courts? Should this be all held inside with the NCAA?
No, it should be in federal court. It should never be in state court, and it should never be with an arbitrator. Even though they have it in that legally binding contract that they signed about the arbitrator, because you know what arbitrators are? Biased. They're biased. Every time somebody signs an employment contract, even you with your job, you'll sign on, and guess who's picking the arbitrator? They are.
The company.
Yeah, and they're always biased. I mean, not always, but 90% of the time they are. And when it comes to this, the states are going to be biased. It needs to go automatically to federal court, and that's less of a bias when it comes to the two sides.
Why can't we just...
And you know what?
Yeah.
Federal dollars go to what? The universities. Makes sense.
So it's all one big pay circle. Everybody gets a piece of the puzzle. Everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Why can't we just let it be, you get 5 years of college football, and that's it? Whether you're playing JUCO, whether you're playing Division II, whether you're playing NAIA, or you're playing Division I. Or you should make a rule. You get 4 years of Division I football with one redshirt year. And that's it. We're done with COVID, because COVID, that's 5 years ago. So now we're done with COVID. There shouldn't be any more red shirts due to COVID because of the shorted year. So that's gone. So that was the 2 years. So now realistically, you're only going to have 5 years of possibility if you get injured. Should they get a second year if they get injured twice?
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it 5 years from when you start your academic career, or can you take off a year and everything and then begin it, and that's when the 5 years begins? Because there's people out there that go to prep academies, military academies, and all that, and they prep for a year after high school before they even go to any junior college or university.
Now, are they being sent there by the college to develop or to grow?
No,
they're
not.
just doing it on their own.
They're doing it on their own because they know they're not going to start at a Sunbelt school or a MAC school, They do this. I don't know if you know about that, because I have a friend of mine that did that from Louisiana, went to Virginia, did 1 year of prep, went to Southern Miss, ended up starting at Southern Miss.
And I mean, that's fine, but I think realistically, if you get into a college that has a football program and you play football for them, I don't think you should be able to go to school, be in school for 3 or 4 years, and then because you didn't play, because you decided you didn't want to play.
So no Chris Winkies, no John David Booty.
I mean, no. And we've got one now that's at the University of South Alabama. Bubba Thompson is at South Alabama now. He played baseball, made it all the way to the big leagues, played for the Rangers a couple of years, did not pan out for him. He came back, went to South Alabama, and then now he transferred to West Florida. So now he's going to try to get his hand at that. So he's still got 4 years to go because I think he redshirted. And here he is, 26-year-old man, and he's fast and strong and big. Now he led his high school to a state championship in football.
8 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. So what I'm saying is where we can have those instances, but are we going to continuously have, getting back to Mensa, are we going to continuously have...
Yes, we are going to have problems.
Those problems until they come up with a solution. Is getting a commissioner, is, making the rules black and white where you can read them, and getting no exemptions.
I don't know if there is a Players Association for college football, but there will be one soon. And guess who it's going to be run by? Lawyers. I can guarantee it.
Wow. You think so?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. NFLPA has so much strength and money that the college football is going to start having it.
Well, let me ask you this, because now we're talking about, we're going over into another area that now the NCAA is going to have trouble. The Alabama basketball player that went to the G League, and now he is back, and because of the weather, he's now getting to play. Now, he played the other night against Tennessee. Alabama loses to Tennessee, but he had a decent game. He had a pretty good game. He was pretty good, and one of the better players on the court.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he went 4 for 4 in field goals in the first half.
Are we going to be able to? Are we going to keep seeing this kind of stuff happening now? Are we going to allow the G League players to come back to basketball and play?
Yeah, and you heard me talk about Texas Longhorns. 4 players from overseas. 4 players. One's from England, one's from Germany, one's from Lithuania, and the last one's from the Ivory Coast in Africa. Wow.
And that's crazy.
That's an international team. Only 40% of their players are from the state of Texas. You know how big Texas is? You can't even just get your own people from your own state.
Well, those days are over anyway. But the thing about this that makes it so crazy is now people are calling for, and we're talking about the Alabama basketball player, a Tuscaloosa judge named Jim Roberts is presiding over this court case, and they're asking him to relinquish and to recuse himself from the case because he's an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, you want your team to have all the opportunities to win. Now, there's a lot of people talking negative about Nate Oates in this. How much do you think he plays in that? Do you think it's Nate Oates' fault that he's allowing this player to come back and then now you're not seeing him start, but you saw him come in the game early? And look, I listened to his press conference and he was like, oh, well, he's taking no one's spot. Okay, but time out.
What?
You only got 5 players. So if he's on the court,
40 minutes.
He's on the court, that means there's only 4 players that can play. So really, he is taking somebody.
What if you have 2 guards? Is he a guard?
No, he's a center.
Oh, my God. Well, that's even worse because there's only 1 center on the court. There's only 40 minutes to play. If he's not taking somebody else's time, he better be on the bench because there's only 40 minutes of a center unless you're putting 2 centers in there, and that's just crazy talk.
Yeah, so are you okay with this? Do you like this? Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is where the NCAA should go? Not only do you allow this stuff going on with the NIL, with the football, now you got this bigger problem over here with the NCAA basketball. So the NCAA, as we know it, is in shambles to me because they've got so many problems because they're going to keep this going on for a long time.
There's a difference between being, eligible for the draft and then getting drafted as opposed to not getting drafted. If you're not getting drafted, I say, hey, you can take another year, 1 more year. But if you get drafted, I mean, you're gone. You're done with on amateur college athletics. I'm calling it amateur in parentheses.
No more.
It's not really amateur. Now, you want to hear crooked judges? It's in every state. It's not just Alabama. Billy Cannon won the Heisman Trophy in 1959. And you know what happened to him in high school? He got in trouble with the law. And you know what the judge says? Because he was an LSU guy. He says, because it was talk about him going to Texas for college football. Hit the gavel down, said, son, you can't leave the state without authorization from this court. So guess what that cemented? That he's got to go to LSU. And a national title in 1958 and a Heisman Trophy in 59. Look what that did. Do you think that courts are trustworthy?
Definitely not in Louisiana.
Not in Louisiana. You think I make up this story? You better look it up.
That's what's crazy, though. And we've known this for a long time, but now it's like with the NCAA having these troubles, I mean, they're in trouble. And it's getting crazy. You know, we're going to have a $40 million Texas team next year. We're having all of these guys depending on what is going to do to college football if Trinidad Chambliss is available to play one more year. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. And then just to think that these schools, even though they teach accounting in these colleges, they're not very good at accounting because some of these colleges are going in the red. They're going in a negative. And the university can't bail out the athletic department. They don't have all the money. So it's going to loans. And then there's interest. It's going to create a problem at these universities.
Rutgers is one of them.
Yeah.
So either way, that is it for us. We appreciate everybody. Thanks again to the Gulf Coast, Coach Lane and Trent Lincoln for being here today. Jeffrey, thank you for being here. Bone Crusher, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening today, guys. Have a great night.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, anyplace, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN